So today we're going to be doing a full gym style workout. Now, whether you have a home gym or you work out in a more commercial gym, this is going to be a workout that's going to be using a lot of variety of equipment. So we're going to be using a bench press, we're going to be using a pull-up bar, we're going to be using, and then we're also going to use some exercise ball exercises with resistance bands and dumbbells. So if that sounds good to you, if you're looking for a wide variety of equipment, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this, and it helps support the channel, so thank you. So we're gonna start out with a warm-up. I like to do exercises in supersets, which means we're doing 2 exercises together. So we're gonna pair a bench press with a pull-up. So for our warm-up for that though, we're going to start with a lighter dumbbell. So I'd like to grab a 30-pound dumbbell for a warm-up before going heavier to get some blood flow into the muscles in my chest. Bench press or the dumbbell bench press works that chest muscle and the tricep, a little bit of that anterior deltoid as well in the front here. So we've got the chest press, and then we're going to do an assisted pull-up. Now the pull-up works the complement to that, where we get some of that bicep and all these muscles here in the back. So we'll start out with that bench press, warming up the muscles. So I would grab lighter dumbbells if you have them. Gyms have a whole rack of dumbbells. Just pick one that's about 10 pounds lighter than what you would normally do. Now, if you need to, you can even go 20 pounds lighter just to start out, just a nice warm up for your chest. So I'm starting with my hands right over the top of my shoulders, chest pushed out, and I'm going to bring the dumbbells to the outside of my chest. So just sort of tapping the front of my shoulder. So I'm keeping that nice wide chest through that full range of motion. So that's getting that muscle tensioned all the way through the movement. So I'm pulling that chest wide, so I'm not keeping a short muscle. I'm really letting that muscle lengthened. We like to do that because we want that muscle to be strong through the entire length of the muscle. So even when it's in this really stretched position, it's still able to push back and generate force. So I like to do about 10 reps. Now this shouldn't feel tiring yet. We're just getting blood flow into that muscle, getting it primed and ready to go. Now, the pull-ups are a little bit trickier because warming up a pull-up, even an assisted pull-up, it's hard to moderate that intensity. So what I like to do instead for a pull-up is warm up doing a lat pull down. Now, it's the same muscles pulling down as it is doing that pull-up. So you could do this with a cable machine and do a more classic lat pull down. I do this with a resistance band because I'm going to be setting up the pull-ups with the resistance band anyway to do an assisted pull-up. I just take that same resistance band and do a lat pull down with it to warm up. So I reach up high as I can, same form as doing a pull-up. Trying to keep my hands about shoulder width, chest pointed up towards the bar. I pull down to my chest, pinching my shoulder blades down and back. So pulling down to my chest, just like I'm pulling up to the bar, just getting some blood flow into those muscles. Doing about 10 reps. Feel that lat muscle along here as you go up towards the ceiling. You should feel that warming up, getting that blood flow into that muscle. It's a little bit different on this exercise. Usually, the heavier the band, the easier it is to do the assisted pull-up. However, the heavier the band, the harder it is to do a lat pull down. So you might need to find a good balance of, you might need to use a different resistance band for your warm-up than you do for the assisted pull-up, especially the earlier you are in, or the more assistance you need in a pull-up, the weaker that muscle is. Sometimes this can be too intensive a band to do a pull down with for a warm-up. So feel a little bit more warmed up, a little bit more ready to go. So I'm gonna move to a heavier dumbbell for this. for our first set of bench press. Now, I like using dumbbells over the barbells because, for one thing, the barbell doesn't hit me in the chest if I ever go a little too far. I feel that, so I can get my hands all the way down to my chest and a better range of motion with the dumbbells because I don't have that piece of metal between stopping me right here. I can actually go all the way down to my chest level. So I like the dumbbells better than a barbell personally. It also means I have to push independently on each side. So if I have a weaker side, it's not gonna get propped up by my stronger side. So each arm gets to work unilaterally or one arm at a time because each weight is separated. If the weight bar was together, my stronger side could help the weaker side push up. From here, I'm gonna push my chest out, bring the dumbbells down all the way to my chest and back up. Trying for 10 reps of these. And I should feel that really pulling across my chest. 7, 8, 9, and 10. It should feel tiring at 10, where I feel that fatigue, that burning across the chest. Now, I'm not going until I feel completely exhausted. I'm going to about 90%, 80-90% of that. If I'm, sorry, it's hard to talk right after doing a set of these. So if I'm aiming for 10 reps, that means at maximum, I could do maybe 11 or 12. If I could only get 10 reps, I would be aiming for 8 or 9 reps instead. So you always want to go just 1 or 2 down from that maximum completely exhausted point. That was the thing that really changed muscle building for me. I used to go all the way to failure each time, and that just led to more chance of injury and more burnout from working out. It wasn't that I didn't want to work out, it was that I was so sore I literally couldn't get my muscles to push hard enough to be able to work out again, where I was trying to lift the same weight and literally just couldn't push the weight up. So I found for me, and what a lot of other people have found in scientific studies, is that going not completely to failure long term actually is better for muscle growth. I'll explain what I'm doing here. I'm putting my knee in the band because this is going to take off some of the weight of gravity. Heavier the band, the more weight it's removing from this pull-up. A lot of people can't do a single pull-up, but if we add the assist to the pull-up, it makes it so you can get more reps in and you can build up that pull-up strength to where eventually you'll be able to do pull-ups without the assisted band. I like it because it lets me get closer to failure without fully reaching that muscle failure in pull-ups. So I can actually get more partial reps in. So from here, I'm pinching my shoulder blades together, pulling up to where my forehead reaches the bar. And I'm going all the way back down to where my arms are straight. 9 and 10. And relax. Now, I could probably do 1 or 2 more, but again, I'm trying to go below that max threshold and try and get more sets of each exercise in, because that's where we actually build more muscle, is doing the exercise over and over again. Rather than one time really hard, we go multiple times at a moderate intensity. So imagine it sort of like you were bringing in a load of groceries. So you could pick 2 bags at a time and make 3 or 4 trips back and forth, or you could try and grab as many bags as possible and do 1 big trip back. But if you do a ton of bags, let's say you get 3 bags in each hand, so you've gotten 6, and you're completely tired out, you've only gotten 6 bags of groceries in, rather than doing, let's say, 5 trips back and forth of 2 bags at a time where you're just fine. You're not exhausted, not tired out, and you've gotten 10 bags in instead of 6. So it's less work, gets you there. It takes maybe more times doing it, but you're able to get more done overall. Hopefully that metaphor makes sense. I don't know if that's just me, where you try and get all the bags of groceries in one load. It's kind of an all or nothing mentality. I've had that in working out too, where you try and do all or nothing, where it's really much more about how much can you get done chipping away at it. So in this, I like the dumbbells for this chest press as well, because it lets me actually bring my elbows a little bit down, which is a more natural position for my shoulder. So you see how my hands angle just slightly towards my face? It's just a little bit more natural of a position, feels better on my shoulder. Some days more than other days I feel fine going down straight. It just depends on the day. And 10. And that's our second set. And going back to our pull-ups. If a lot of gyms have a pull-up bar, not all gyms have these resistance bands. If you don't have a way to do assisted pull-ups, sometimes there's also a machine where it's got a plate you can put your knees on to support. We're doing the same thing with resistance bands, doing supported pull-ups. So you use the resistance bands at your knee, and that's taking some of that force off of your arm. So I like to really make sure I've got a solid grip on the bar, point my chest up at the bar, looking up just a little bit to keep my chest from rounding forward, and then pulling up to where my forehead reaches the bar, all the way back down. Try and keep those shoulder blades pinched back. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Man, the biggest thing, I don't know if you can see this, where I've got a red mark right here across my hand. You can sort of see it. The biggest thing is that grip on the pull-up bar is pretty hard. So I find my grip is actually the limiting factor sometimes on pull-ups. I know some people use straps where it sort of wraps over the bar and helps support their grip. I think those are a really good idea. If you have access to them at your gym, or if you own some, I think those would be a really good idea for pull-ups, so to make sure your forearms aren't being the limiting factor. Though I will say, if you're doing pull-ups, you can actually build up your forearm strength as well as you're doing pull-ups. So it's not the primary thing that we're doing, but it can actually make a big difference in that grip strength, because you're secondarily training it in everything we do. All right, one more set of dumbbell push, or dumbbell bench press. If I seem a little bit scattered mentally, it's because I've had a headache, but we're still trying to push as much as we can. Even though I have a headache, I think it's important to keep on going as much as I'm able to, because I don't want to miss out on a workout if I can help it. The more times I work out, even if I don't work out as hard because I'm feeling, it's still better to get a workout in and not miss out on that potential. Even if it's a little bit lighter, it's still better to get in and do what you can rather than wait for things to be perfect. Because honestly, things in life just so very rarely are perfect. But the more we work out, the more ability your body has to be resilient against those imperfections. So you find where your limits are and what's going to actually make a difference. I know for me, when I have a headache, I tend to need to work out a little bit less extreme. That's always sort of the case, but especially when I'm feeling a headache coming on, because I find my body doesn't regulate well. It doesn't know where that sort of pain threshold is, so I need to be much more cautious of that. Like I've said, I've been an all or nothing sort of person in working out where I push myself too hard. I find being consistent, sticking to the plan, so I'm not upping my reps, not upping my sets. I'm keeping the numbers I know I can hit, because especially when I'm in pain, I can't feel how my muscles are feeling in that day, so I have to rely on that number. So that's a good part of being consistent, is knowing what your body can handle and making sure you don't go outside that bound. Okay, last set of pull-ups. So after pull-ups, we're gonna be focusing in on some arm exercises to build up a bit more of those arms in isolation. Right now, What I'm trying to do is really expand the bicep and tricep in my arm because I want proportionally these to be bigger. I felt like those are muscles that have been lacking for me. I've been doing more compound movements, less isolations, and so these muscles aren't as big as I want them to be. So if that's you, if you're looking to also increase your arm size in the next couple months, hit that subscribe button to be here live. We can talk about it, and I can do what I can to help. And what you see is what you get with this workout. I'm not doing something different outside of these live streams. I do all of my workouts on live so that it's just genuinely, this is what I think is the best thing to do to build up bigger. So if you like to be part of that, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. All right, I'm going for our last set of pull-ups. Arms about shoulder width apart, fully hanging from the bar, pulling up to where your forehead reaches the bar. Doing 10 reps. I see your message. I'll be right over in a second. 5, trying for 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's where I'm gonna stop actually. That is pretty close to failure right there. Is your name Danny? It's Danny with 2 A's. So I think it's Danny. Hey, thank you, I'm going to subscribe. Hey Danny, welcome to the team. All about having a group of people here for encouragement, here for if I can help in any way, or if you're just looking for someone to talk and work out with, that's totally fine too. But I want to build a healthy life together. Thank you for subscribing. I'm glad you're here. So now we're going to do a preacher curl. So I like this because I feel like it really isolates that bicep especially well. We're working some of that bicep, but also some of that brachialis muscle that runs underneath that bicep. Sort of pushes up that. So for this, I like to use an incline bench. There are dedicated benches for this, where there are preacher curl bench, where it's sort of a pad that goes underneath your elbow. Those work fine too. If you don't have access to those though, incline bench works just as well. What you're gonna do is put your elbow right at the top of the bench, and you want to bring your body right up against that bench so it's not gonna swing or go anywhere. From here, you're gonna go down, tap that bench. I'm trying to almost completely straighten my elbow and then pull back up, because what that's gonna do is fully lengthen that bicep. I wanna try and pick a dumbbell that's light enough where I can go through that full range of motion without any discomfort in my tendon. So if it hurts right here, try a little bit lighter dumbbell, and you can build up that tendon strength over time. A lot of people don't realize that their muscle builds and their tendon, their connective tissue builds with it. So part of this is building up all those tissues in your arms. And 10. And same thing on the other side. Some people only do half reps on this, where they're just up here like this, and that's not getting you that full length of that bicep. So it grows most under this high tension point. Now, if you have pain in your arm, inside that elbow where the tendon is, try a lighter dumbbell. If it keeps on going, you might have something else going on with your tendon. So go get that checked out. But if you have a healthy tendon, and find a dumbbell that's challenging for you. So you want to pick a heavy enough dumbbell where it's challenging but not painful. So the other exercise I like to do with the preacher curl, I'm actually gonna set this down 1 notch. So it's at about a 50-degree angle. I think this is somewhere between 50 and 60. So the other exercise I like to pair with this is an overhead press. The overhead press starts here, where my hands are at shoulder width. I don't want them narrow like this. I want them wide out at my shoulder width. From here, I'm gonna press up towards the ceiling and then back down to that same wide position. Now when I press up, they're not coming together, staying over the top of my shoulders, and then back down. Now, and that will work not only that tricep muscle back here, but also this deltoid muscle in the top of my shoulder. So if I was to go narrow, I'd get a little bit more emphasis on the tricep, but less on that deltoid, that big shoulder cap. So I'm trying to get everything working together. So that's why I like doing the overhead press with a wide grip. So go in here, outside the shoulder, trying for 10 reps, up and down. So all the way up, all the way down. 4, 5, I'm going heavy enough to 6, that I'm tired by 10, 7, 8, 9, excuse me, and 10. So I'm picking a heavy enough dumbbell that 10 is tiring. Now for me, that's about the same number on the bicep curl as it is the overhead press. Depending on how you're proportioned, you might feel like you need to adjust it up or down on either of those movements. But for me, I've always found that those are about even. Now going for a second set of preacher curls. So elbow on top of the bench, going out to almost completely straight, tap that dumbbell on the bench, and then back up. I like this because it stops you from being able to do any sort of cheat reps. There's no swinging of the body where you're doing sort of this with your body to get back up. Just straight up and straight down. The bench gives that extra support. Now, if you're liking this content and want to see more, hit that like button for me. It helps support the channel and lets me know you want more workouts like this, where we're using a variety of equipment to get building up muscle. I try and do the same number of reps on each side. So I have an even, I'm building up both arms evenly, where I'm not building up one side more than the other. So what I would do is I would start with your weaker side. So if you're right-handed, start with your left side. And that way you can know how many reps you're gonna do on your stronger arm. Now for me, it's about the same on both because I've been doing this a while. And I'm relatively ambidextrous, where my left side is not that much different from my right side. But for some people, it does make a difference. Just starting out, I would start with your non-dominant side on single arm exercise. That's true for legs too. If you're doing like a split squat, which we'll do in just a minute, start with your non-dominant side. 9 and 10. Now I like to shoot for 10 reps because I find it's a good balance of strength and endurance. And it's easier to estimate how close to muscle failure I am. If I go fewer reps, tends to be harder to guess how close to the limit I'm at. So I like to shoot for 10 reps. Some people I know like to shoot more or like to go for more like 15 reps. And that's okay too. There's no real difference in how much muscle that's gonna build, as long as you're pushing close to that muscle failure point where you're challenging the muscle. So whether it's 10 reps, whether it's 5 reps, whether it's 15, as long as you're challenging the muscle, you have that muscle building effect. Actually, that's one of the reasons I really like hypertrophy training, or muscle size increasing training. And it's really not complicated. A lot of people try and make it really complicated, where they're like, oh, you have to do force reps and all these other things. You don't have to do any of that. It's very simple, just a few simple concepts applied across exercises, like doing full range of motion and going close to muscle fatigue, or into that muscle fatigue, close to muscle failure, will get you those results, just as long as you are consistent over time with it. A lot of people jump around from exercise to exercise, and they don't get that consistency. And that's what makes it so they don't build muscle and grow, because they're never working long enough at one exercise to see that muscle growth, because it doesn't happen fast. Really, if you, for maximum, people can't expect to really grow more than a quarter pound per week, which spread through your whole body is kind of hard to see. And that's a really generous guess. So, but if you do that week after week after week, if let's say you grew a quarter pound of muscle every week, you couldn't see that week to week. But after 52 weeks of that for a year, that let's see, what is that mental? That's over 10 pounds of muscle in a year if you were consistent at it. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Not saying that everyone's gonna grow that fast, but I'm just saying small changes over a long period of time make it add up into a big. So if you had 10 pounds of muscle right here, added on, how much bigger your arms would be. That'd be huge. So if you were to work out your arms for a year, you can see those changes happen. Obviously, limited by a lot of factors: how well are you sleeping, how well are you eating, and how are you working out. Those are sort of the three big pillars of it. So for me personally, I was working out really well, but I wasn't eating enough protein and I was having terrible sleep. Now I've been working on fixing those other two things. I've started tracking all my calories and making sure I'm getting 150 grams of protein in every day. And I've been working at improving my sleep, where I'm now tracking my sleep. And that has a large effect on your hormones, especially your testosterone, which a lot of people know about the fact that testosterone helps build muscle. If you think about it, if your sleep is giving you negative testosterone, turns out that even if you were to take steroids, the negative effect of sleep is way more profound than the positive effect of taking steroids. And there's a lot of side effects with steroids too. I'm not saying you should do that. I would recommend against that. I'm not taking them because of those side effects. But the natural testosterone in your body, if you don't sleep well, that starts to go down. So getting your sleep right lets your body naturally produce that testosterone that you need to build muscle. So it decreases your stress, that cortisol hormone that causes stress or is linked to stress, and it increases your testosterone, which helps you build that muscle. Getting your sleep right is one of those, I would say, 3 pillars of having a good physique and being able to actually grow and build muscle. So get that workout part right, eating, the nutrition, and the sleep. All right, I think we're on set number 3 of this. I like to do more sets of the muscles I'm trying to really emphasize in a workout. So we did 3 bench press with dumbbells and 3 sets of pull-ups. So I'm gonna try for 4 sets of preacher curls and 4 sets of overhead press. Now, if you are just starting out, you could even start with 2 sets of these instead. So limiting everything to 2 sets and seeing how you feel after, because you can feel really sore after, and I'd rather you start small or start light and then build up over time, where you're able to get more workouts in and get more used to the routine. That would be how I would recommend doing it. A lot of people do start out with jumping right into the deep end, and that increases their risk of getting injured and not being able to complete. So I think it's better to start at a more manageable level and then build up over time. Because a lot of people go to things like burnouts and boot camps, and they come home and they're like, oh wow, that felt awful, I'm never going back. And it's true, it feels awful. So why would you do that to yourself? So it's better to start gradual and build up over time and just take it one step at a time. So you could even start out with a lighter weight or fewer sets, and then as you find what your body can handle, add more over time. It's much more of a marathon than a sprint. A lot of people don't realize that, I think. I didn't for a long time. There was a period of time where I was trying to lose weight so fast. I was only eating, it was somewhere around 1,500 calories. any of you who know anything about calories know that is not much food at all. So, and for me, I'm a 6'1", and that is grossly under the number of calories I need to eat, where I lost over 5 pounds in a week. And that is so much weight loss. It's too fast. It's not healthy, actually. So I was trying to do it as a sprint, trying to lose all that weight really quickly, and it actually backfired, where I actually ended up gaining more weight after it, and all that weight was in my fat rather than in my muscle. So I lost muscle and fat and only gained back fat because I did it in trying to go the fast route. Now what I do is I'm focusing on only about a pound of weight loss per week instead of 5 pounds, where I'm losing just fat and not losing as much muscle. I'm keeping that muscle mass. I don't know if that helps or if anyone needed to hear that, but if that's you, I'd encourage you, take it slow and you'll actually thank yourself in the long run for it. I hope that people learn from my mistake and don't try and just lose a ton of weight quickly or gain a ton of muscle quickly, because that has side effects and ends up costing you in the long run. Usually when people say they're trying to gain muscle quickly, that's they're using some sort of compound, and those all come with side effects. I think I was on set 3 for overhead press. Hands shoulder width. If you're liking this workout and want to see more, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So if you want to be here live, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to be here to talk with us live, or talk with me live. Building a community of people working out, trying to live healthier together. And 10. Now, if you're looking for the type of equipment I have here, if you're looking for a recommendation, I have a lot of the equipment I use linked in affiliate links down below. They're Amazon links that don't cost you anymore, but help support the channel. So if you're interested in the equipment I have, then feel free to click those links. It helps support me. Thank you in advance for that. If you can't afford it, that's totally fine too. If you have equipment that works well for you, that's great. So I've just had people come in and ask me what I am using. I want to know that and want to help support. So that's why I have those down there. Last set of preacher curls. Trying to get that 4 sets in, because in weekly sets for bicep, I'm trying to get more than 10 sets of bicep exercises. So if I do 4 sets now, 4 sets on Wednesday, and 4 sets on Friday, that's 12 sets in all. And that means I can build muscle faster in that bicep. 10. Now, if you ever have questions about how to use a different piece of equipment or do this exercise with another piece of equipment, I always love to try and figure out an option for you. I've had people come in asking about how to work out without a gym. Now, we might have to brainstorm a little bit with what you have and figure out an option that's gonna work. And 10. It's a good thing that was the last set. I can definitely feel that in my bicep muscle. So if you feel that burning in the muscle at the end of the workout, that's actually a good thing. That means you've really challenged that muscle. If you're not challenging it, it's not growing. If it's just easy, where you end the workout and you're like, oh, I could do another one of those, it's probably not hard enough. And that's okay, especially if you're just starting out, if you're figuring out where that limit is, that's okay to start there and then slowly build up over time to where you get to where you know how hard the muscle can go. Sometimes I've had clients who, while they were doing the exercises, were like, oh, that's actually really easy. And then they woke up the next morning and they're sore and they're tired and they're like, oh wow, that was so much harder than I thought it actually. So sometimes it's good to try it and see how your muscle's gonna feel the next day. Because it's no good if you wake up and you can't move. So going overhead press, I'm going nice and wide with those dumbbells. It's not gonna be narrow right here. I'm gonna bring it out to the outside of my shoulder, pushing up towards the ceiling, working that tricep. So that deltoid is that cap over the top of your shoulder, and the tricep is in the back of the arm. All right, so that's all of our upper body exercises. Now we're gonna go to some lower body exercises. Well, we gotta keep moving. I'm trying to keep this to under an hour for our full workout, but we might go just a little bit over today. I was gonna do split squat. I think for today, we're gonna do, instead of a split squat, a dumbbell squat. So for a dumbbell squat, what I like to do is high reps, because I find it's easier on my lower back to do high rep squats rather than trying to go. So for a dumbbell squat, you're going to bring the dumbbells right to your sides. You can hold them up like this in the front. That's totally fine too. I find it's more comfortable to have them right here by my sides. And your feet are about shoulder width apart. I'm gonna bend my knees, keeping my chest pointed up so I'm not rounding forward like this. I'm keeping my chest up as I go down. And that's going to really emphasize those quad muscles in the front of your thigh. So bending my knees, coming back up. Going as low as I can, almost touching the ground with the dumbbells. I'm going until I feel that burning in my thighs. "13, 14, and 15. And same the dumbbells down to the sides. And going, next exercise is gonna be for those glute muscles, that butt muscle. A lot of people want bigger glutes or stronger glutes. I found for me, I don't have very good glute genetics, but I found this is the one exercise that really hits that glute more effectively. So, I'll show you two ways to do this. One's a little easier, one's a little harder. So the hip bridge is works those glutes. Your feet are gonna be shoulder width apart. Pushing down through your heels, you're gonna bridge your hips up towards the front. Now this stretches across the front and tenses up. So it's doing sort of two things. If you have tight hips, it'll stretch out those muscles as we're working the glutes. So if this is too easy for you though, what you can do is lift one leg up and do a single leg bridge, and that's what I'm gonna be doing here. So it's working one side at a time, but doubling the amount of pressure you need to push your hips up. So pushing up and then back down. Now on this, if your foot's far out, you get more hamstring, and if it's close, you get more glute. So I'm doing close because I want to emphasize more of those glutes. I'm doing 10 each side, 9 and 10. Now you will work some of the hamstring and some of the glutes in both, but it's just which muscle is having to work harder. So same thing on the other side. This knee's up, out of your way, pushing up towards the front, tensing up those glutes. You should feel that tense up in the back of your hip. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And relax. All right, and going one more set of our dumbbell squats. I'm gonna take just a second for my heart rate to come back down. Legs always takes out so much more out of my body. I think legs are so important. It's the foundation for your entire body is your legs. So you don't want to have weak legs. You wouldn't want to be huge up here and then tiny little pencil legs or tip over. So we want to make sure we're proportionally strong. So we work the legs too. I personally do Monday and Friday, I do legs because I find I need the rest time. I can't do legs 3 times a week. It's just too much. Now I know some people do legs more often. If that works for you, that's great. But I know for me, I need more rest time doing my leg. So staying straight and tall, bending the knees, sitting down, or like you're sitting down on a low stool, and then back up. 8, I think I got 15 last time, so I'm trying for that if I can. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. All right, that's burning in the front of my thigh. I'm stopping there. So If you're liking this content and want to see more, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more of this type of workout. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're coming in after it's been live. So go into our glute bridge, laying on your back, feet shoulder width apart, one leg up. I like to start with my left leg down, so that way I'm starting with my non-dominant side. So pushing down through my heel, bridging my hips. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that way, if I start on my left side and can't quite get to 10, I have a number I can match on my right. So if I was only to do 8 on my left, I'd do 8 on my right as well. My right can be my stronger side. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. All right, so we're gonna finish up with some ab exercise. I found that using an exercise ball is a much more effective way of me getting abs, doing an ab workout, rather than something like sit-ups or crunches. And I'll show you why. So for an exercise ball, it allows me to actually fully lengthen that muscle. So normally, if I was on the ground, I stop right here where my back is. With an exercise ball though, I can go, this was where I would normally stop on the ground. Now I can go fully into that extension where I'm really lengthening these muscles here. So that rectus abdominis muscle, that six-pack muscle, really gets stretched out. And that's what's gonna help it grow faster. Putting muscles under high tension allows them to really grow. So I'm doing sit-ups on an exercise ball. Now with this, I'm trying to roll my rib cage into my belly button. I'm not trying to hinge at my hips. I'm trying to hinge along the spine right here. So imagine you're trying to bring your chest into that belly button. And that's what's gonna build you that muscle. The ball also helps support my lower back. The other thing is, I'm breathing out as I pull up. So if you hold your breath, then you're compressing all that air in your diaphragm. And if you think about it, imagine it like your chest is a balloon. If it's full of air, and I try and crunch, that air is gonna push against my ability to crunch. So I'm breathing out as I'm going up to push the air out of my stomach, out of that diaphragm, to give myself space to actually lift up. So I personally found these way more effective for feeling that muscle work in my abdomen. You know, after doing these last Friday, I was sore the entire weekend, but in a good way, where I knew I had really targeted those muscles effective. Now, part of getting a six-pack is these muscles need to be strong. The other part, and the part that I'm most working on, is reducing the amount of weight or the number of calories, which that's what I'm working on over time. I try and build muscle for 2 months and then lose fat for 2 months. So building muscle, I do a really lean bulk where I'm eating just slightly more calories than I need and plenty of protein while working out really hard to build. Then during weight loss, I keep on working out. I take 2 months of cutting calories where I'm eating 500 calories less than I need to maintain weight. So my body is losing fat. Well, I'm doing my best to maintain as much muscle as I can by doing resistance training, lifting weight, doing squats, things like that to maintain muscle. So the more you do that, the more consistently you can lose fat over your entire body. And depending on your genetics, like for me, my genetics are I store fat right here, unfortunately. I can't change that, but I can try and change how much fat my body has over. So that's what I'm doing. I don't have very good genetics for this, but the good news is if it works for me, it'll probably work for you too, because I don't have anything helping me in my genetics for that. One more set of crunches. I like to cross my arms across my chest. If you want to, you could have your hands up like this and reach towards the front. So I'm gonna go up. Whoa. Do you know what? That just cramped in my abdominals. I'm gonna stop there. I did one set on that one, but I know feeling like that on the very first rep, that cramp is telling me I need to stop. Because my body is sending signals that this is not gonna work. This is gonna be too much. So we'll stop there. It's important to be paying attention to the signals your body is sending you because you want to reduce the chance of injury. I know if I kept on going, I might hurt a muscle and that would actually slow my progress overall. So thank you everyone for being here. Welcome to the new subscribers. Hope to see you back here Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And till then,